Hello, I'm Ruth Buchanan and I'm going to talk you through how I prepared my drawings for the painting Conquistador. These are some of the location sketches made at Tilston Polo Club near Tadcaster in Yorkshire. Although the initial sketches have an immediacy and fluency, there are some anatomical and balance irregularities that I would want to address before I begin painting. Sometimes I do this by just working straight over the initial drawing in the sketchbook, and in other instances I use another technique working on a layout pad using overlays of the thin 80-gram paper to adjust the form and composition. This is the sketch I chose to first develop, as it made me think of paintings I'd seen of Spanish conquistadors, hence the painting's title. And first I'll scan and resize the sketch, so I'm drawing at a size that is closer to that of the finished painting. Working from the back forward in the pad with the original sketch underneath, I've made notes here on what I want to change, the first thing being the perspective. This next layout sheet shows the footprint of the painting. I thought the first sketch too side-on, so I want to alter the perspective on the footprint and have reworked this drawing accordingly. So then onto another layout sheet. You can see the previous one underneath, and I'm going to quickly sketch in the key lines and reference points. It is important not to just trace, as this destroys the immediacy and movement of the sketch, and this technique is similar to cell animation, so I try and keep that in mind and hold the idea of movement. I'm then going to develop the drawing forward. I still have the perspective slightly wrong, especially where the rib cage sits over the hind leg, but making these mistakes does help show what to correct, whether it's in sketchbook or as part of this process. As I'm redrawing, I noticed that I didn't include the mallet in the initial sketch. This starts me thinking about the final composition, and I've decided to use a background of abstract washes using the base colours that I'm going to mix the detail colours for the horse and rider. I want the background to play a part in the narrative rather than just to be a backdrop, so I need some structure, and the golden mean, golden section and nautilus curve are ideal for this purpose. There is another video on constructing these, or you can check out Vi Hart's videos for a much better explanation than I can give. The small sketch on the left is how I decided to construct the composition, with the supporting foot and the mallet sitting on the nautilus curve when the horse's eye is on the golden section line of the total painting area. Rather than recalculate the golden mean each time, I have a computer file that I can print out at the size I need and use under the layout sheet as a guide. Like perspective, the golden section and nautilus curve are mathematical expressions of natural occurrences, which as artists we see and reproduce all the time, so it informs our ability to look and frame. So I often find sketches already conform to them and just in need of tweaks to formalise and help the process. I take my own reference photographs, and these are some of the 7 paintings that assisted this particular painting of Conquistador. From these I took detail for things like the boot and knee guard, the way the supporting hind leg sits, the rider's face, and the rider's body angle. But I do seem to have another camera inside my head that fills in the gaps and links the whole thing together. The main reference photograph for this, as you can see, is quite blurred. I'm not a terribly good photographer, so the camera in my head has to do a lot of work sometimes. Another overlay, and as often happens, I've automatically started to add some tone and shaping. I am naturally more of a draftsman than painter, so I like to have my drawing and tonal values worked out beforehand to allow me to fully focus on colour when I am actually painting. Back to my sketchbook and a quick mini painting to visualise the background washes. I chose the rose madder centre band as the rider's shirt will be red, and I want it to sit behind the foreshortening. Placing it on a similar colour will prevent it coming forward and detracting from the horse's near side foreleg, which should be closest to the viewer. As you can probably tell, this colour sketch was actually done before the drawing refinement process. When I checked, I found the rose madder wash also conformed to the nautilus curve, so I'll take this forward into the main painting. As it also encompasses the main focal points on the horse and rider, I've decided to concentrate the detail within this band and allow the areas outside it to be looser and lighter in tone, to sit more with the background. So this was my drawing process for preparing the artwork. In part 2 I'll talk through how I actually painted Conquistador.